Jackson. The class of 1999 in the coaching category, Ted Comden. '99 meritorious team, Bob Delamarter. '99 meritorious category team, Daryl Dunkel. The class of 2002, softball player Deb Thompson. The class of 2006 in the coaching category, Scott Sallow. The class of 2012, basketball player Gordy Holton. From the class of 2014, the meritorious category, Willis Kilburn. From the class of 2017, track and field, Kim Adams. She did not make it. Thank you, Lori. From the class of 2018, in the coaching category, Bill Bippus. The class of 2019, soccer player Randy Greenslade. From the class of 2019, cross country and track and field, Herbert Roteach. Our 2020 inductees. From the baseball team, Homer Shields being represented by Derek and Dylan Shields. From the cross country and track and field team, Michelle Klein Allison. From our women's soccer team, Carly Lynn Deneau. And from our cross country and track and field team, Marin Miles Kuhn. Ladies and gentlemen, would you join me one more time in congratulating this outstanding group of young women? Go ahead and please have a seat. At this time, I would like to acknowledge a few groups of individuals. I want to start with our Hall of Fame committee members. Those that are in attendance, if you would just simply raise your hand, I would appreciate it. Ted Comden, Terry Darling, our chairs in Guatemala, Bob Delamarter, Kay Dunkel, Matt Ginn, Blake Glass, Darlene Mefford, Matt Potter, Scott Sallow, and Deb Thompson. Thank you, Deb. I want to just recognize our coaches and staff in attendance. Our baseball coach, Ryan Markin. Women's basketball, Ryan Frost. Women's cross country and track, Brian Burke. Track, Erica Vogel. Women's soccer, Jason Christ. Softball, Deb Thompson. Women's tennis, David Darling. Volleyball, Betsy Martinez. Our sports information director, standing in the back with the camera, Chris Bauman. Our administrative assistant, Lori Cornell. And I don't know, did Miriam Sailors make it in, our FAR, Faculty Athletic Rep? Can we just give our coaches and staff a hand, please? Our coaches are incredible, so blessed to have them committed to the purpose, to our mission, committed to being the best they can be on the field and track, or wherever they might be. But I'm just going to tell you right now, Lori Cornell, most of you had a chance to meet her today if you're here for the first time in a while, but our administrative assistant, she makes this place go. She is absolutely incredible. Makes my life a lot easier, makes our coaches' lives much easier. Just the energy and the joy with which she serves the rest of us is pretty incredible. So I just want to give a quick shout out and recognition to Lori Cornell, if you could. Lori, thank you so much. At this time, I want to invite Dr. Doug Wilcoxon, our Executive Vice President, to share a few remarks. And then following Dr. Wilcoxon, Rebecca Cotton, a sophomore business administration major from Traverse City and a member of our women's soccer team, will provide instructions for dinner and then give the invocation. Dr. Wilcoxon?
On behalf of Spring Arbor University, I want to welcome you to the Hall of Fame banquet this evening. I want to say thank you to the Delamarter family for beginning this, the Hall of Fame. And then also I want to say thank you to Ryan Cottingham for the way that he lives out our concept and lives out the why of what we do in Spring Arbor Athletics. Tonight's a special night. We're going to be able to celebrate 4 individuals who set themselves apart. They demonstrated excellence in their particular sport. But I want to talk real quickly about the why, because that's the most important thing at Spring Arbor University. The eternal perspective, the continuous process that we enter into in life, in living for our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And so athletics is a tool. It's a phenomenal tool. And what I don't want to underestimate is the power of athletics. Because what it provides for a coach is an amazing window of insight into a person's soul to see when they have to handle defeat, how they handle that, and how they handle success. And so in the midst of that, it provides a tremendous opportunity for training and preparing people for life. And so the why behind athletics at Spring Arbor University is because we want to prepare men and women to be critical participants in a contemporary world. We want them to be salt and light, to be ambassadors in their community, in their homes, in their churches, and in their workplace. And I know for a fact with the coaches that you have just been introduced to tonight, and the shoulders on which they stand from those who have coached here in the past, that is our purpose. Our purpose is to train young men and women to be ambassadors for Jesus Christ. And so tonight's a celebration of that. And so thank you for being here again in the inclement weather. Thank you for your commitment to Spring Arbor University. What a wonderful tool to fulfill our mission through athletics at Spring Arbor University. Thank you.
If you could please find your seat, silence your phones, and give me your undivided attention, I would greatly appreciate it. Before we get started with the induction ceremony, I had an omission. My first mistake, hopefully not, and hopefully the last one for this evening. Coach Jason Chris is a member of our Hall of Fame committee, and I forgot to mention it. Jason Chris, would you just wave your hands? Thank you so much. Can we just give a round of applause? I don't want him to feel shortchanged. Jason, thank you for all your work. You do so much for us. And I just want to thank the Chartwell's crew for their outstanding job of serving us tonight. Can we just acknowledge Chartwell's? Thank you so much, Barbara, and again, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, Bob Delamont, where is Bob? He probably didn't want me to say this. He said, well, I've had better, I've had worse. We'll leave it at that, Bob. I consider that a win from you if you said you've had worse. So it's always good to have you with us, Bob. The Hall of Fame designation is intended to recognize exceptional ability and skill, as well as an extraordinary achievement and or success in athletics. It is an honor that reflects the accomplishments of a career, and in some cases, a lifetime. It is the highest athletic honor bestowed on an individual at Spring Arbor University. Tonight, we celebrate 4 special individuals that have forever left their mark on SAU and our athletic department. At this time, I would like to ask Scott Sallow to come up as he will introduce our first inductee, Homer Shields, who is being inducted posthumously. Homer passed away unexpectedly in August of 2009 while vacationing with his family at Kings Island in Ohio. Homer's sons, Derek and Dylan, will be accepting their dad's induction this evening. And Coach Sallow, it's good to have you, one of our Hall of Fame members, actually just won his 3rd state title this past spring. If we could just give him a round of applause. Congratulations, Coach Sallow. And we'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Ryan. Always great to be back home here at Spring Arbor and amongst some of the coaches and professors and teammates of mine back in my playing days here, so it's great to be back home. Good evening. As Ryan mentioned, my name is Scott Sallow. I'm the current superintendent and head baseball coach at Homer Community Schools. How fitting, right? To induct somebody like Homer and work at Homer and have Homer Jackson 2 tables behind me, right? So, all things Homer this evening. It's Homer Strong, absolutely. That'll be my Facebook post later. It's my privilege and honor to induct my good friend and my teammate Homer Shields into the Spring Arbor University Homer Athletic Hall of Fame. I personally want to thank the entire Shields family for allowing me to share in this special evening for Homer. I first remember hearing about Homer during my playing days back at Monroe High School. Homer and I were just about 10 miles apart in our 2 schools. Although we never competed against each other, I would hear his name often. And he was a standout athlete there at Erie Mason, winning a football state championship his senior year in the fall of 1987. After graduating high school at Erie Mason, Homer would go on and enroll here at Spring Arbor College, then University now, and become my teammate, maybe one of my favorite teammates I've ever had. I find it interesting, and maybe even a bit troubling, that my dad, who was going to be here tonight because of the slick roads, decided to stay put tonight. My dad often takes credit for this Monroe County baseball pipeline into Spring Arbor. So some great players from Monroe County. My dad would always brag often about it. Homer Shields, Dan and Don Hilliard, Dean Sisk, Ray Lowers, Tom Sallow. And I think he failed to remember that I grew up right in his bedroom upstairs too. So, but I was never mentioned with all of those legends, right? And legends indeed. And he was always proud to say that Homer was at Spring Arbor because of his doing. I don't know if that's true or not, but if you know my dad, there's maybe just a little bit of truth there. I had the awesome privilege of playing with Homer for 3 seasons here at Spring Arbor. And then I stayed on and coached Homer, assisting Hank Burbridge. I had the privilege to sit next to Pat this evening. I had a chance to stay on and become the assistant coach for Homer's senior year. So I had a chance to watch Homer's entire 4-year career. And I can tell you, if you look at the baseball record book, I know Coach Martin does a nice job putting that together. Homer's name appears in 20+ times. That kid could flat out play. I've enjoyed sharing some of those stories with his boys. I never met anybody tougher or more competitive than Homer. I think he gets that from his dad, right, Dad?
Yeah.
That's pretty tough too. I shook my hand still hurts. I had to eat my dinner left-handed. There was never a situation, a game, a pitcher, an opponent that made Homer blink. If you remember, some of you in here remember Homer playing, what a treat that was. He was the heartbeat, he was the glue of our team. He made everybody around him better. He was certainly our team leader. We went as Homer went. I can picture it like it was yesterday. Homer taking ground balls at third base. Maybe this is a new drill for Ryan. You got some baseball guys in the back? They're going to want to plug their ears for this. Homer taking ground balls at third base off of his chest and off of his face. And he did it just for fun. This is Homer. He didn't need a glove. Right? He just took him in the chest and took him in the face. He was better without a glove than I was with two gloves. And he would remind me of that. And you see, Homer was brutally honest. Right? Those of you that know Homer, just nod your head. Homer was brutally honest. I remember one particular practice when I went over to field ground balls at third base. I'm just trying to find my way in the lineup. I'm not sure why coach didn't play me. I don't know. I hit 171. There were some tough outs in there. So I'm trying to find my way in the lineup, so I take some ground balls at each position, hoping that I find a crack somewhere. So one day I'm over at third base. Homer, I don't know what Homer was doing. Maybe he was up at bat taking BP. And he gets his glove and he comes out to third base and looks up at me and says, "Sal, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm just over here taking some ground balls, trying to get some work, Homer." He said, "A, this is my position, and B, you're not any good anyway." And he was right. So I went on, moved up to right field, I think. He was something else. Homerisms, we call him. I don't know if his wife Tina recalls some of these stories passed on to her. Homer, he was a dandy. During his senior year, I remember walking past the on-deck circle, heading over to coach first base, and Brad Roth was our leadoff hitter. Paul Wiley was hitting two for us, and Homer was batting third. And I remember pumping the guys up as I was going around the back end, coach first base. I said, "Hey, you guys got to get us going today. The first inning, we got to score early." And Homer's nodding his head. "You're right, coach. You're right. Come on, Paul. Come on, Brad. The three of us, we got to be the duo today." And it took me for a minute. I got halfway down the first. I said, that's Homer, right? That's Homer. The three of us have to be the duo today. That's Homer. You got to love it. My favorite story, right? My favorite story, 1992, Homer completes his four-year career, only fitting that he plays his last games his junior year and senior year out in the World Series. His junior year out in Idaho with me, and then his senior year when I was coaching out in Grandview, Iowa. Homer gets off the bus right out here in front of the field house. I can remember like it was yesterday. And I gave him a big hug and he said, "Homer, congratulations, man. What a tremendous career." He was just a flat gamer. Gave him a big hug. He pulled away from the hug and looked up at me and said, "Yeah, but I didn't get drafted." I said, "What are you talking about, Homer?" Major League Baseball draft was last week and I didn't get drafted. I really hope to be drafted. So I'm trying to bring some light to the situation. Remember, I hit 171. I was not a draftable kid. So I looked up at Homer and said, "Homer, that's all right, man. I didn't get drafted either." And he stopped, again, looked up at me and says, "Yeah, but you weren't any good." I said, "You're killing me, Homer. You're killing me." Although Homer didn't get drafted, he accomplished so very much. Not only was he one of the best baseball players that I've ever played with and I've coached, I've had players in the major leagues, and Homer is right there with them. He was a treat to play with, and I can tell you, so those of you out there that are college athletes, embrace practice. He loved practice. So when you have that 3 to 5 or 3 to 5:30 time slot, I don't know if it's tennis, soccer, basketball, baseball, softball, he embraced practice. When he put on those cleats, he was all in. He was a gamer. We learned a lot. A lot of the stuff that I do out in Homer now is because of the way Homer Shields played third base. Homer was a great husband, a great father, a tremendous brother, and a tremendous son. He raised his family with the same energy and passion and enthusiasm that he played the game of baseball with. I miss my friend Homer every single day. I don't think it's by accident that I've spent the last 30 years working at a school named Homer, right? So it's always right there on my chest. Every time I look down at my baseball uniform, if you ever watch me coach, between every inning I go touch third base. That's for Coach Burbridge. And I look down and I see Homer across my chest, and I remember my friend Homer. Without further ado, please help me welcome Homer Shields into the Spring Arbor University Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2020. Congratulations, Homer, for this well-deserved honor. I'm so very proud of you. And by the way, I can hear Homer saying it right now, if you listen carefully. He's saying this: it's about stinking time I'm in that Hall of Fame. And Coach Cottingham, how in the heck did you let Coach Sal get in there before me? I love your brother, Homer Strong. We're going to bring up Dylan and Derek Shields. Give them a round of applause.
Scott covered a lot of good stories, so I'm going to keep mine nice and short for you guys. It's a pleasure to accept this award on behalf of our dad. He would have been so honored. He lived his life for his faith, his family, and sports, especially baseball. He always told us his favorite days were when he was on the field. He was very competitive, thrived to be the person that came in clutch when the game was on the line. He always told us the stories about his favorite situations, which would be bottom of the ninth, tie game, 2 outs, with an opportunity to win the game with a base hit. He loved the pressure and the greatness that could come from that moment. We also learned from him just to make every moment count and to live life to the best of our ability. We want to thank the committee, his parents, Homer and Ophelia, for encouraging him to be the best he could be, to his fellow teammates, his coaches, and especially the late Hank Burbridge and this university for allowing our dad to continue to play the game that he loves so much. We just want to thank him and congratulate him to all the other inductees.
On behalf of Spring Arbor University and the Board of Trustees, I am pleased to induct Homer Shields into the SAU Athletic Hall of Fame. As Coach Bibbis gets ready to make his way up, I do my second mistake of this evening, and Coach Sal didn't anything, but we have some of our current athletes here. We have some members of our baseball team, some members of our women's soccer team, and some members of our cross-country track team. And what an honor it is for them to be able to be here, to get a glimpse of those that have gone before and paved the way. We're so grateful that you're here. As you are ambassadors, you're carrying on the baton of those that went before you. Can I just ask our current athletes that are in attendance, would you please stand so we can recognize you? Our current athletes at those tables, please stand up. Coach Bibbis, come on up.
Before I begin tonight, can you hear me? I'm going to leave it like this a little bit. I've been blessed to be able to use my hands because I teach middle school science. In order to keep those kids interested, I have to move my hands around. Otherwise, they don't pay attention. So, forgive me for not being able to hold it. Homer Shields, I was blessed to actually be in school when he was here. I got a chance to watch him play. Phenomenal athlete, phenomenal person. Congratulations, Shields family, outstanding. And also congratulations to all of the inductees tonight. This is truly a special night. It's a homecoming for me. I coached here for 22 years, so it's always a blessing to be able to be here. Before I introduce to you Michelle Klein-Allison, I would like to first take a moment to express the uniqueness of tonight. 2 athletes from the same team being inducted together. Truly remarkable. It was a coach's dream to have these 2 God-gifted, dedicated, hard-working, extremely competitive athletes competing at the same time. Together, Mayor and Michelle's leadership elevated the standard of excellence for the women's running program at Spring Arbor. Most training sessions were like races. No one was able to take an interval off without the look. We all remember the look. Simply saying, "What are you doing?" We've been blessed with an opportunity to be amazing. Slacking will not be accepted. Without question, they both were program changers. As I prepared for tonight, I was able to reflect on their accomplishments. I will be sharing some of those with you later. However, what they did together and the God-centered family that they created will always be one of my fondest memories. Those times and those teams were truly remarkable. I am blessed tonight to introduce Michelle Klein Allison as Spring Arbor University's newest Athletic Hall of Fame inductee. Tenacity. Webster defines the word tenacity as the quality or fact of being determined, one who perseveres. Unfortunately, this word tenacity is far too small to encompass Michelle and the inherent qualities she possesses. From the moment she arrived on Spring Arbor University's campus, she became the motivating force that literally pushed, keyword there is pushed, our women's distance running program into predominance. Michelle instilled in her teams three components of tenacity that helped shape the direction of the program. Those three things were: 1, be a leader with resolve. 2, be committed to excellence every day. No excuses. Overcome all barriers. 3, honor God daily through hard work. There is no one that I've ever coached that would ever outwork Michelle. Before I share one of Michelle's remarkable stories, I'd first like to take a moment and look into Michelle's infamous career. As a member of the cross-country team, Michelle was a 2-time NAI All-American, one of only 6 athletes in university history to accomplish such a feat, male or female. In 1999, she helped lead the women's cross-country team to a second-place finish at the NAI National Championships, still currently the highest finish in program history. Michelle's teams would compete in 4 straight NAI National Championships. 3 of those teams would place in the top 10. 4th team placed 14th. She was a 4-time NCCAA All-American, one of only 3 runners in program history to accomplish such a feat. She helped lead the women's cross-country team to the 2000 NCCA National Championship. She was a 4-time All-Conference runner, one of only 4 athletes in program history to accomplish such a feat. She helped lead the women's cross-country team to 4 conference titles. She ran the second fastest 5K in school history with a time of 17:59, becoming one of only 6 ladies in program history to break 18 minutes for a 5K for either track or cross country. In track, Michelle was a 4-time NAI All-American. She helped lead the women's 4x800 meter relay team to the national championship. She was a 10-time NCCAA national champion. She helped lead the women's track team to its first ever 2000 NCCA indoor national championship, setting 2 records at that meet. She still holds 2 SAU track records, is on the university's top 10 track and field performance list in 8 different events. Michelle is one of only 2 female athletes in university history to earn an NAI All-American in all 3 distance running sports: cross-country, indoor and outdoor track. Only 2 girls have ever done it in program history. Michelle's accomplishments truly represent one of the greatest running careers in Spring Arbor University history. But yes, there is more to Michelle. Tonight I would like to take a moment to share a story, one that I believe encompasses the traits of one who is tenacious. Choosing the story to tell was not easy. I could have chosen many different stories from her career. I could have chosen the time Michelle had the flu, could barely get out of bed, and yet still raced 2 races at the NAI National Track and Field Championship, placing 7th in both, just missing All-American status. Back then, it was only the top 6 that were All-American. Today, it's the top 8. or the time she collapsed after handing off the baton to Marin at the NAI National Indoor Track and Field Championships, running her career best as the third leg of our relay team that went on to win the national title. However, the story I've chosen tonight is one that she did not win. In fact, she only helped someone else win. This race, however, demonstrated to both her teammates and the coaches what remarkable character and true tenacity was all about. It was Michelle's senior season of cross country. It was her final conference race. For the past 3 years, her teams had won the conference championship and qualified for the national meet. This meet was at home, and all of her family was in attendance. As the race unfolded, two storylines were happening. Number one, the team championship was going to be very close. Only a few points were going to separate the first and second place teams, so every place was going to be important if the team was going to prevail. And also, the team championship individually was down to two people, Michelle and a runner from Cornerstone. Each of them had led throughout the entire race. It was going to be a battle to the finish line. With about 700 meters to go, the runner from Cornerstone had taken a small lead. Both runners went up a hill, around a couple of trees, and out of sight from spectators. Both athletes were clear of the rest of the field by almost 200 meters. I was in full sprint. Quote, full sprint. To a spot that I believe would be pivotal in the race's outcome, yelling to inspire Michelle in hopes that she would find the strength within to outkick the other runner at the finish line. The difference in just that 1 point between first and second place could turn the tide in our favor. Seconds later, Michelle came into sight. She was in first place. No sign of the other runner. I was ecstatic. She had taken the lead. She was going to win. In my excitement, Michelle stopped and looked at me, and she realized something was wrong. She asked, "Where is she?" "You're winning." "I don't know. Keep running." And keep running she did. She turned around and ran back, yelling for Larry to let her know she was going the wrong way. My heart stopped. What is she doing? This could cost us the championship. The score was too close. The other athletes might catch up. We might lose. But now Michelle knew 100% what she was doing. She knew what was right. She knew what God wanted her to do. By the time both runners were back to where I was standing, Michelle looked tired. The girl from Cornerstone looked stronger. And a few of the other runners were starting to gain ground. The outcome was in doubt. Yes, Michelle could have easily kept running the correct way. It was not her job to go back and help someone else. However, Michelle expected greatness from herself. No excuses. She risked everything that day to compete with integrity, the godly way. Michelle had taught us all a valuable lesson that day. What a remarkable moment. Michelle is and is always a person who has exceeded my expectation. She's a person with great integrity. More important than all of these phenomenal accomplishments is her commitment to her job as the Director of Special Education at Brighton High School and her love for her family. It is my privilege and distinct honor to introduce Michelle Klein Allison as one of Spring Arbor University's newest Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. Oh, in case you were wondering, we did finish second. Michelle also finished second. Remember, she is tenacious. Congratulations, Michelle.
On behalf of Spring Arbor University and the Board of Trustees, I am pleased to induct Michelle Klein Allison into the SAU Athletic Hall of Fame. At this time, I'd like to ask Coach Chris to come up.
I don't like it when they put me behind Memphis. It's almost like you're in the 5th grade and he's like got the book out and he's telling a story and his hands are going. And I wrote down what I was going to say just because Matt Ginn says that if I have less time than you, I win. Okay, so I'm here to talk a little bit about Carly Denome Linton today, and I have to give a little bit of credit for Carly being at Spring Arbor to Coach Sam Alstead, who wasn't able to be here tonight. But I was the spring of 2010. I was recruiting at a high school, I think somewhere in Detroit, might have been in Grand Rapids, probably Detroit at that point. And I got a call from Coach Sam, who wasn't on staff at that point. He was just a friend. It was 2010. We were still playing on the grass field out here, really old bleachers. We were getting ready to do a field renovation, and he was in Jackson watching a game. He was watching Bullet Creek play in a tournament, I guess, against Jackson Christian. It was a Jackson Christian tournament. Bullet Creek was coached by Carly's dad, Linton, and so he's like, Coach, you gotta check this kid out. He was there with a friend of mine, Lance Rogers, who coached at Western High School for a very long time. He's like, you have to check this Carly Linton out. You gotta check her out. They're in a shootout here with Jackson Christian. I said, Coach, Jackson Christian's terrible. They weren't very good that year. It's a small school. There's not a lot of talent. Like, what's Bullet Creek like? And he's like, well, Bullet Creek is just okay, but Carly's special. Carly's special. And they're about to go into shootout, and they just yanked her out of the field, and they threw the goalie gloves on her, and they put her in the goal. So, having never done that before, she stopped a couple shots and won her team the tournament. And I said, well, all right, that's great, but I knew that the level wasn't super high, that they were playing at. And I said, well, what club does she play for? He said, well, she plays for Vardar. And I said, the under-18 Vardars? He said, yes. They've won 6 straight state championships. I'm like, where's she at? Get me to her. I want to see what she looks like. So a couple weeks later, I wind up near Midland, Bullet Creek, and watching her play. And I pull up, and it's raining. It's pouring cats and dogs. And so I'm off the end of the field and don't want to get out because it's just dumping rain. And I'm trying to figure out which player she is. I said, shouldn't be hard because I knew she'd probably be the best player on the field. And somebody comes back into the 6-yard box. If you don't know soccer, the defensive end of the field, there's the 18-yard box, and right in front of the goal, there's a 6-yard box. And picks off a pass from the other team and just starts dribbling, right? And so I got my windshield wipers on. The girl keeps the ball 80, 90 yards, goes up into the other 6-yard box, and taps it into the corner. Beat pretty much all 11 players on the other team. I'm like, that's got to be Carly Linton, right? So I watched the rest of the game, stand in the stands, and I actually met her grandparents there, and talked with her after the game. And somehow we convinced her she had an offer at Central Michigan University to play, and they had coach change, and it kind of fell out of it, and we were able to talk her into coming to Spring Arbor. Had no idea what I was getting myself into on like many levels for that. Carly Linton, as I think about our program over the past 2 decades, there's a lot of moments I can look at, a lot of players that I can look at that have like changed the course or upped the level. Carly Linton is definitely one of those people. I have never, in all of my years coaching soccer at any level, including semi-professional, never coached a tougher competitor than Carly. She's just amazing toughness, resiliency. She's super driven and is contagious, super contagious. So the teams that we had that had Carly on them, everybody was competitive. If you weren't competitive, Carly was running you over. And so the level of training was just so high when she was there. It was a coach's dream from that perspective. But the other side of the coin was that Carly liked to play pranks. And so the victim is always the coach. Like I was always the victim of the pranks. She's also very sneaky, so she would try to instigate and get her teammates to pull the pranks and do it to me so that she wouldn't get caught, like I wouldn't know she was behind it. And she would do things like, we would be up at the front of the bus riding, and she would climb up into the luggage rack of the Cougar bus and try to creep up the top of the luggage rack to get up front so she could mess with us somehow. She would crawl under the seats and try and tie your shoes together to the post of the seat. Like, my wife once, I'm a big Red Wings fan, my wife once bought me a Carly, I must have fallen asleep or been talking to Coach Elson or something. She found a way to snag it, take it to the back of the bus, tape it up, and they were shining lights on it like it was at the disco. And so she loved to play pranks on me, and then, it's all coming full circle now because here I am with a microphone and I can talk about it. I said, are you worried about what I'm going to say? And she said, should I be? So Carly is just an amazing person. I'm just going to kind of read what I wrote here and get her introduced. But as I was contemplating what to say, like I said, I was kind of thinking through the years in the program and people that have really shifted the course of our program. Our program, when Carly came into it, was very good. We were winning 17, 18 games a year. But we were kind of Indiana Wesleyan's younger sister a little bit. Had a hard time getting past IWU, getting to the national tournament. We'd done it once in 2004 in the NAI national tournament. We were going to the Christian college tournaments pretty much every year and doing well there. Carly's freshman year, we went to the Christian college national tournament and won it. She was an integral part of that, just really a stud player. From there on, it just elevated. The next year we were in the opening round of the NAI national tournament. In 2012, she led us to the Final Four. And then back to the national tournament again in 2013, her senior year. So she was just a huge piece that pushed us forward. Her stats are pretty much just jaw-dropping. 3-time NAI All-American, League Player of the Year twice, 4-time All-Conference player. She held the goal and points record here for several years, a record that was long-standing. Amy Douglas was just inducted a couple years ago here, and she held that until Carly broke it. 64 career goals, 40 career assists. She's currently second all-time on the SAU career goals and points list. But like I said, what made her special is her competitive excellence. Carly knew how to, the harder you played against her, the more you tried to play physically against her, the tighter you were on her back, the better she liked it. The better she played. If you laid off her a little bit, she wasn't quite sure what to do, but if you got right up on her back and tried to whack on her a little bit, she would destroy you. She got a bit of a reputation inside the league. She was also had a lot of confidence to her. So I told her, I couldn't find one, but she used to wear these sparkly headbands, and they were sequined, right? And so she would go out there really looking girly on the field, and then just run people over. And so she developed a little bit of reputation with some of the coaches in the league, and I can remember something specifically in her sophomore year happening where word got back to Carly. I won't say how it happened, I might have been involved, but another coach had said something basically that she was overrated. Before we were going to play this team, and I said, I don't think that coach thinks you're really that great. From that moment forward, every time we played that team, multiple goal games from her. She had 3 hat tricks against them on her way out the last 3 years. So every time that we played Grace, University, Doug Wilcoxon, Carly would just go to town on Grace every single time, and they hated it, and it was so great. So that's just kind of who Carly was. The more you challenged her, the more you pushed her, the harder she always had another level. She could always go up another level. That's what it seemed like. Not only could she take her game to another level, but she could push those around her to another level. And I think that's really unique as an athlete. There are a lot of athletes that can take their game up, but somebody that can actually impact the culture of a team competitively. That's who Carly Linton is. Like some of the things that we try to pass on, like if I had a top 5 of players that I'd like to have come back and just spend time with my players, like my current players, Carly Linton would be one of the first people I would call. Because there's so much that she has to offer competitively. Not just competitively in the sport of soccer, but she's just a competitor in life. She's a winner. And those are the kind of people that you want around your people, the young people that you're trying to fashion. So, guys, if you get a chance to hang out with Carly tonight, you should do that. So in her senior year, this is kind of my last thing, I'll wrap it up here. In her senior year, Carly was man-marked by Taylor University in the conference tournament, and they were exceptionally physical with her. She was on the ground a lot in that game, took a lot of knocks, and eventually took a tackle that broke a bone in her foot, and we had to take her off the field. But we won the game and won the tournament, so we were going to go to the opening round the next week, the national, first round of the national tournament. And Carly was told by the first doctor that there's no way she was playing, so she went to another doctor, and that doctor said, And Carol Gates, I think, was our trainer at the time, was like, you really shouldn't go to, I think she went to 4 or 5 different doctors to get cleared. Finally got cleared, she's in a boot, could barely walk, but played in the opening round as a senior. Like just with a broken foot, just incredibly tough individual. And those are the kind of people that, everyone looks at that, and that's a leader on your team. The other players want to play for that player, and they want to play with that player. and that's just who Carly Linton is. So Carly, I'm so happy that I took that phone call all those years ago, and that I didn't get tied up in the fact that you were playing at Jackson Christian and that they threw you in the goal. And I'm just so happy that you were a Cougar. Your confidence, your competitive drive, your competitive excellence have forever changed the trajectory and the culture of our program. I can see it in the players that we have now. The legacy that you've left, I can still see it, and I think that's really cool. You were a game changer then, and you're a game changer now. So please help me welcome and congratulate my captain and friend, Carly Denome, to the microphone to be honored for her investment in the program.
Thank you, Coach Chris. My senior year of high school, I actually told my parents that I was not going to play soccer in college. So look at how that turned out. I felt unsure about my future. I was nervous about the next steps in my life, and I had decided that staying put in my hometown was what was best for me. However, as is usual, God had a different plan for my life.
behalf of Spring Arbor University and the Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to induct Carly Litton into the SAU Athletic Hall of Fame. At this time, I want to ask Brandon Baum and Steve Allison to please come up to introduce Marin. Coach Bippus has used all of his allotted minutes, so two teammates would like to come up. I'm sorry, Marin, is that okay if these two teammates? Coach Bippus, looks like you're going to close us. Come on back up.
Like I said, a remarkable night. Congratulations, outstanding stuff. Tonight I'm again honored with the great privilege to introduce Marin Miles Kuhn, who's one of Spring Arbor University's newest Athletic Hall of Fame inductees. It has been said that one individual act of unselfishness can change the direction of another's life. That one individual act of sacrifice can be the launching point for changing others' path towards greatness. I stand before you tonight as a witness of this occurring in the running career of Marin Miles Kuhn. A career that would become legendary to many of the track and cross country athletes here at Spring Arbor. Tonight I will share a short story of how a sacrificial gesture and a challenge from a teammate ignited a fire that propelled Marin into becoming one of the greatest runners in Spring Arbor's history. However, before I share the story, I would first like to set the stage by listing a few of Marin's legendary accomplishments. As a track and field runner at Spring Arbor, Marin was a 5-time NEI All-American. She became the first middle distance runner in program history to earn All-American honors as a freshman. That was an amazing moment. You won't go there. She knows why, and I know why. That was an amazing moment. She was a member of the 4x800 meter relay team that won the first national championship for Spring Arbor on the track and field side. She was an 8-time NCCA All-American. She helped lead the women's track team to the 2000 NCCA National Championship, setting 2 national records. She was an 8-time conference champion and set 2 conference records during her 4-year career. She was honored as a conference MVP. She still holds 2 university records and is on the track and field top 10 performance lists in 12 different events. No one's done that many events and been on it that many times in school history. In cross country, she was a 2-time NCCA All-American. In 1999, she helped us win the national championship. I'm sorry, wait a second. I was going with you guys there in the titles. You're second. I'm sorry. My bad. She helped lead the women's cross country team to the 2000 NCCA national title. Marin's teams would make 4 national appearances, placing in the top 10 3 times. She was a 2-time all-conference runner. She helped lead the cross country team to 3 conference titles. She ran the 4th fastest time in school history for cross country at 18 minutes. She was a recipient of what's called the Wheeler Award. It's the highest individual honor given by the NCCAA for outstanding Christian character, athletic, and academic achievement. The list goes on. But due to the sake of time, and obviously I've used a lot of it, I'm going to be brief. Tonight I would like to share a story of the launching point that propelled Marin's career to legendary status. A story of her remarkable career that almost never happened. Yes, Marin's running career almost never had a chance to start. It was Marin's freshman year. We were in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Kenosha's cross-country course is very challenging and starts with a half-mile hill. I had made the journey up the hill and was waiting with extreme anticipation for our ladies team to race by. It was our first meet of the season, and that year our team was preseason ranked for the first time in school history. I was excited to see what they could do against some of the best competition in the Midwest. As the mob of athletes approached, I noticed our team was in great position. However, it seemed to me that I might have missed one of our runners, for only 6 of our ladies had gone by. Not to worry, I was sure that our missing athlete was among the other 6 runners. I began to head to the next checkpoint when I saw someone still coming up the hill. They were not moving very fast. They looked a little distressed. As I looked closer, I realized it was one of our own runners. It was Mary. She was walking. I was thinking to myself, Lord, please tell me she's not hurt. This season is so young. This team has so much promise. Moments later, she had made it to where I was standing. Tears in her eyes. She collapsed, what seemed like it was exhaustion. I took a deep breath as we both descended the hill together, talking and praying. Fast forward 3 more weeks. 3 more meets. And unfortunately, this was still happening. Marin would, at some point in every race, stop and walk. As a team, we were concerned that she might quit. Tony Dungy is quoted as saying, the only way to praise God at all times is to remember that God can provide joy in the midst of sadness. This is where Marin was. I knew it. The team knew it. As a runner, the saddest point in anyone's career is when you quit a race. As a team, we wanted to praise God at all times. How could we find joy in this moment? That weekend, I prayed that God would show me a way to encourage Marin. At Monday's practice, one of our team leaders, Liz Stewart, came to me with an idea. An idea that she believed would help Marin. Liz's idea was simple. She would train with Marin all week, and on Saturday at our next meet, Liz would sacrifice her own race and run with Marin all the way to the finish line. I thought it was a great idea. As the week progressed, however, I realized what she would be sacrificing. The next meet was our home meet. By running with Marin, Liz, a senior, would be sacrificing her last chance to race in front of our home crowd. Liz was convinced that this was the best thing for Marin and ultimately our team. I agreed, so the plan was set. Saturday's race came and the gun went off. Many of the top collegiate schools in our state were off and racing against 6 of our top 8 runners. 2 of our athletes, Liz and Marin, in the back of the pack. The lead girls finished, and some 5 minutes later, Liz and Marin crossed the finish line. We celebrated. We celebrated as if we just won the championship. In our celebration joy of Marin finishing, no one knew what God was about to do. No one knew what lied ahead for our team. No one knew what amazing things Marin would accomplish. Everybody was simply thinking, good. She finally finished the race. But something bigger had happened. Liz's amazing sacrifice had lit a fuse to the dynamite that God had given Marin as a runner. And that dynamite was about to explode. A few weeks later, Marin would help the team qualify for the National Cross Country Championships, first of 4 trips that her teams would make. At that conference meet, Marin would place in the top 15 as one of our top 4 runners. From that moment on, Marin would become one of Spring Arbor's all-time top cross-country runners. Yes, Marin would become that 5K All-American, and she would set records and win national championships. Truly a legendary career. God blessed that moment of sacrifice. Marin never forgot the help and the challenge from her teammates. She raced every race to glorify God and honor her teammates' sacrifice. As stated before, one individual act of unselfishness can change the direction of another's life. Marin had found God's joy in running again. Even now, Marin continues to celebrate God's joy in running and continues to compete at a very high level. Marinism has always been a person who exemplifies God's love. More importantly than all of these amazing accomplishments is her commitment to her job at Memphis Elementary School, her love for her family, and her role as a mom. Marin is one who lives daily to honor God. She always puts her family, her friends, and others before herself. It is my great privilege and honor to introduce Marin. I almost made it. Marin Miles Kuhn is one of Spring Arbor University's newest Hall of Fame inductees. Congratulations.
Well, I'm going to take this out. And if you have any cheesecake, you probably want to start eating it now. I have loved to run since as early as I can remember. And anyone who knows me knows I love to run. It's my passion. And my parents have told me a story about when I started to walk, I kind of tried to run too. And you might even say I was destined for it. If you look at the spelling of my name and break it down by syllables, me, ran, miles, right? Now, no one in my family was ever really a runner. I can't really tell you where this passion came from other than the Lord. In fact, my dad returned my first pair of running shoes because he said they were too expensive. And my mom would always yell, breathe, breathe, during a race. And my first thought was, is that the best running advice you can get? My sister would only run if something dangerous was chasing her. And my brother got dragged to all my meets, so in compensation, he thought tonight he should have got in for free. But in all seriousness, my family has always supported me through all my crazy running adventures, even if they think it's kind of weird. And they still do today, and for that I'm very grateful and honored that they're here with me today. My grandmother is here. She will be 90 this summer, and all of my teammates loved when my grandma came to my meets because they could eat all the cookies that she brought when she came to watch. If you had told me, or any of them, that one day I would be standing here, I am not sure any of us would have believed it. Realistically, I should not be. The only reason that I am here is my life was forever altered by the grace of God, which I don't deserve, but He so mercifully gives, and the people who influenced my life during my years at Spring Arbor. I was never a superstar high school standout. I was a pretty average runner who did okay as part of a pretty successful team at Blissfield High School. I had my ups and downs, but I had a great dedicated coach who was passionate, and he spread that passion to our team, and I had teammates who also loved to train, and that drove us to be successful. So when I arrived at the campus of Spring Arbor in the fall of 1997 for my freshman year, and I started practicing with the team here, it became immediately obvious that I was out of my league. I could barely keep up with anyone, and many times in practice I walked. I felt sluggish, tired, slow, like I was running through sand all the time. And I began to worry, what was I thinking? I can't compete at the collegiate level. To their credit, my coaches and teammates never made me feel any less than anyone else. But in my mind, I didn't feel capable or worthy, and I thought that they were feeling stuck with a deadbeat recruit. So as Coach mentioned, the first collegiate race for me rolled around to Kenosha, Wisconsin, one of the most challenging courses that we run. And you run straight up a grassy hill for about 400 meters. So the gun went off. Actually, I think it was a cannon, which is kind of weird. But we started running, and about 200 meters up the hill, I just stopped. I really can't explain it. I just stopped. I turned around, and I walked back down the hill. I wasn't sick. I wasn't injured. I just couldn't run. I felt worthless, humiliated, hopeless. Coach Bibbis came, put his arm around me, and said, it's going to be okay. We'll take it one race at a time. And we walked down that hill. Now, for those of you that aren't runners, this is the ultimate failure in a runner's mind, to stop in the middle of a race for no legitimate reason. I wasn't sick, I wasn't injured. It was the ultimate failure. And I can honestly say I did not ever feel more discouraged in my entire life. The next time I raced, the same thing happened. And then again. I just stopped, walked, and quit. 3 races in a row. Now, I loved running. It was everything to me. It was my passion, my dream, my goal, my identity. I had never not wanted to run. But then I began to think, maybe I should quit. Maybe I'm no good anymore. I didn't think I could hack it as a collegiate runner. And maybe this was the end of the road for me, both literally and figuratively. This small voice inside of me kept saying, don't quit. You'll never know what could happen. You'll always wonder. You'll always regret it. And I thank God for whispering to me in those moments of doubt in His still small voice, because that is what changed my life. 1 Kings 19, 11 through 12 says, the Lord is not in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the devouring fire, yet these may and do prepare the way for his still small voice. So the next meet we had was on our home course, and my team captain, who was a senior named Liz Stewart, came up to me and she said, Marin, I'm gonna run with you this race. I'm gonna make sure that you finish today. And I argued with her because she was much faster than me, and it would cost her her own successful race. But she was adamant, and so she stuck by my side the entire 3.1 miles. She encouraged me, she yelled at me, she bossed me around and said, don't dare quit. And she is the only reason that I made it across the finish line for the first time in my collegiate career. She sacrificed her entire race so that I could finish mine. That is just a taste of what God did for you. He sacrificed his only son to make sure that you make it through this life with the hope of salvation and to give you strength and courage when trials come. Liz knew that I would struggle, and she knew it would cost her a successful race, but she stayed with me anyway. So after I finished my first collegiate race in an embarrassingly slow time, it was a mental breakthrough for me. I started to get some confidence back. I was able to slowly improve over the next few weeks, and I had a long road ahead of me, but it wasn't the end of the world. I knew I could finish a race, and the worst was behind me. What happened after that is literally a miracle. I cannot find the words to describe it any other way. Anyone I've ever told this story to has heard me use that word, miracle. One day, on a long, hilly dirt run on Grover Road, I was running along, and I literally could feel a definitive difference come over my body. I felt light, I felt filled with joy, like this misery and drudgery of running so depressingly for so long was just gone. To this day, I can remember everything about that moment. It is etched in my mind forever. The trees, the birds, my shoes. I don't know how it happened. It just did. So I'm running along, getting faster, and I'm passing girls on my team, and before I know it, I'm running up with the team band, and Coach leans out the window and he says, what's going on? And I said, I don't know. So this continued for a few weeks, and then like 3 weeks, and out of nowhere I was just running fast and feeling incredibly good, and I couldn't explain it. It was like someone had flipped a switch from slow to go. So I call my mom and I say, Mom, I think you need to come to the meet this weekend because I think something's gonna happen. I just have this feeling. So that weekend it was the conference meet, and I pretty much dreaded every race in my career. I loved running, but I would get so nervous and filled with anxiety that I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I'd go to the bathroom 542 times. But this time I felt different. I felt excited, I felt confident, I felt really pumped. I couldn't wait to get on the starting line. I just had this feeling that something awesome was going to happen. So the gun went off, and I felt really good. I was running and passing people, and I had this song in my head, ain't nothing gonna break my stride, nobody gonna slow me down, oh, I got to keep on moving. You heard that one? Yeah, that was in my head the whole time. So we go through the mile mark, and the boys team, who's already finished their race, is cheering, and they're yelling for our girls, go Kelly, go Liz, go Mary. They were as shocked as the rest of us were. So I finished the race in my fastest career time by over a minute, and it was an incredible breakthrough. It was a spirit-lifting moment, it filled me with joy, and it was just the beginning of something amazing. Isaiah 40:31 says, but those who hope, who trust, who wait in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. I was blessed to have many people on my team who pushed me to be better. I had many teammates and friends who shared the same passion and drive for running that I did, and who were always striving for excellence. They drove me to be better, and I became faster than I ever could have been on my own. Michelle was my roommate as well as my teammate, and when I was student teaching, she used to wait until I was done in the classroom to come back to school and do workouts with me. Just the two of us, all alone. I've never forgotten that sacrifice. She gave up her own personal chance to train with the team just to make sure that I had somebody to run with. I also was blessed to meet the love of my life, my husband Josh, while running on the track team. The first conversation we ever had was actually right here when it used to be the Cougar Den, long ago. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, did you write that article about the track team in the Crusader," which was the school newspaper? And I said, "Why, yes, I did." He goes, "You spelled my name wrong." I have been spelling that name right for the last 22 years, for the record. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a huge crowd of witnesses to the life of faith, let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race God has set before us." Bill Wippes is a godly leader, and he made sure to put the Lord first in both victory and defeat. He would always say, "Give God the glory," or "Get the cougar out of the bag." Sometimes people on our team would kind of tease him a little bit because he was always praying, sometimes while driving, with his eyes closed. But looking back on it now, I firmly believe that God blessed him with a team that was motivated and successful because he was faithful. He challenged me and pushed me past my own perceptions and limits. And without his guidance, I would not be standing here today. He walked down that hill with me that first race, believing it was not the end of my story. He saw potential in me that I couldn't, and he believed I had more in store than I ever would have dreamed. I don't deserve anything that I've ever accomplished. I certainly have had failures and shortcomings. I've made mistakes, wished I'd done certain things differently, and I haven't always been the greatest example for others. But despite that, God has used these moments in my life to help me grow and shape who I've become. I look back at my career with extreme gratitude and thankfulness. And I hope to continue to use the gifts and talents that God blessed me with to reach others with his mercy, his love, and his forgiveness. 1 Peter 4:10 says, "Each of you should use whatever gifts you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. If anyone speaks, they should do so as one who speaks the very words of God. If anyone serves, they should do so with the strength God provides, so that in all things God may be praised through Jesus Christ. To him be the glory and the power forever and ever. Amen." Thank you.
On behalf of Spring Arbor University and the Board of Trustees, I'm pleased to induct Maren Miles Kuhn into the SAU Athletic Hall of Fame. If I can ask Derek and Dylan to stand, if I can ask Carly to stand, Maren and Michelle, can you please stand so we can recognize you one more time, please? Our 2020 Noah Brooks, a senior from our baseball team, would you please make your way up as Noah comes up to close us in prayer? I would just ask that all of our members of the Hall of Fame, please make your way to the front. We would like to take some pictures before you leave. Thank you, everyone, for making tonight so very special. We wish you safe travels on the way home. Go Cougars. Noah?
Like Coach Cunningham just said, I'm Noah Brook. I'm a senior on the Spring Arbor baseball team. And before I pray, I was asked to say a few words about what Spring Arbor means to me. Spring Arbor has been a very special and important place for me over my 4 years. I'm forever grateful for the opportunity I've had here and that Spring Arbor has given me. Spring Arbor has challenged me to pursue excellence in every aspect of my life, whether it be on the baseball field or in the classroom. But most importantly, it has reminded me that in times of victory, defeat, or injury, to hold fast to Christ's faithfulness and his love. Let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you for gathering us together this evening to celebrate the individual athletic accomplishments of these great people. Thank you for Spring Arbor, a place that's committed to serving you. And Lord, give us that spirit of service today. Help us recognize every day what our mission is. That's to bring you glory in all we do. We thank you for your Son and the sacrifice he made on behalf of us. Help us live a life in response to that sacrifice every day. In your name, amen.